Chapter 7 The Burning Bush. Exodus chapter 3, verses 1 to 10. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppress them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Exodus chapter 3, verses 1 to 10. Moses in Midian found life much simpler and easier than in Egypt. Whatever hopes he may have harboured for a time soon gave way to an acceptance of his life as a sheepherder. Having once been the companion of royalty, he was now the companion of sheep and the husband of a woman with a modest heritage. As a sheepherder, he took the flock to the backside of the desert, to a remote wilderness area, in the area of the mountain of God, where later the law was given. It is called both Sinai and Horeb in the Bible. Horeb probably means desolate place. Here at Horeb, God reveals himself. We are told that the angel of the Lord appeared unto him, verse 2. In some way, the angel of the Lord must be identified with God. This is clear from Genesis chapter 16, verses 9 to 13, Judges chapter 6, verses 11 to 14, and Judges chapter 13, verses 3 to 22. The angel of the Lord is clearly said to be God appearing in human form. At the same time that the angel of the Lord is identified with God, we have to speak of the angel. Exodus chapter 23, verse 23, chapter 32, verse 34. We have evidence of communication between God and the angel of his presence. 2 Samuel chapter 24, verse 16, 1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 27. In Zechariah chapter 1, verse 12, the angel of the Lord speaks to God. From antiquity, it has been recognized that the angel of the Lord is a member of the triune Godhead, and Christians have seen him as God the Son in his pre-incarnation appearances. It is an interesting fact that, although two great events occurred at Sinai, first, God's revelation of himself to Moses, and second, the giving of the law, Israel never made Sinai a holy place, a shrine, or attached any special importance to it. This was a radical break with all antiquity and a recognition of the transcendence of God. Even today, historic sites are turned into national shrines, a religious term because we associate great events more with the time and place than an ongoing faith. One of the reasons why we are not at all sure or even reasonably aware of the location of Mount Sinai is that Israel never attached any value to the site. It was the law itself which was important. Where sites were marked on Israel's entrance into Canaan, it was for educational reasons. One of the things we are told about God is that He is a consuming fire. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 29. In this instance, the fire did not consume the bush. Moses turned aside to see this strange sight. At this point, many scholars indulge in naturalistic and evolutionary nonsense. The burning bush has been explained as a subject of spontaneous combustion because of the sun's intense heat, or, we are told, the original faith of Israel had been a worship of storms and lightning, and this was a vision of a storm god. Every kind of nonsense is invented to evade the fact of supernatural revelation. When Moses turned aside to look more closely at the burning bush, God called out to him, "Moses, Moses," and Moses answered, "Here am I." Verse 4. Moses is then told three things. First, he is to come no closer. Second, he is to take off his shoes, because third, the place is holy, since God is present. To Westerners, this requirement of taking off one's shoes seems quaint and oriental. The fact is that our own custom is most common to barbarians, and it has a poor history. The two key areas where a man was to go unshod were, and in some places still are, in a home and in a place of worship. It's a mark of respect. It indicates that the place is set apart. It is a safe place, and it is also a clean area which must not be polluted by the world's dust and dirt. In the West, the removal of one's hat by men is required in churches, and in homes, both men and women remove their hats. The removal of one's shoes also signifies rest, and the idea of rest was once basic, and in some countries still is, to worship, eating and being at home, and so shoes at such times were and are discarded. We thus have a series of remarkable images. The burning bush represents Israel. As Kyle and Delitzsch noted, Israel was burning in the fire of affliction, the iron furnace of Egypt. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 20. But they were not consumed. At the same time that the fire represents Egypt, it also represents God, by whose ordination the persecution has taken place in order to prepare Israel for freedom. Then we have a desolate place in the wilderness become suddenly a sanctuary where Moses meets God. First, it must be noted that Moses did not find God. God finds Moses. God initiates this event. It is revelation, not discovery. Second, it is a specific and particular revelation. It is to Moses, and he answers, "Here am I." Third, Moses is warned against coming closer. Modern religiosity is often presumptuous and assumes an easy familiarity with God. The unshod feet speak of peace and rest, but not a casualness in God's presence. Some prominent pulpiteers who have been stars on the American church scene have also been notable moral shipwrecks. I believe part of the problem has been their cheap and easy familiarity with God. We are less ready to violate the moral laws of a God whom we hold in awe. Otto Scott has described his reaction to a violent storm in the North Atlantic in World War II. He said he realized that God is no buttercup. This is a lesson which our generation will soon learn. Fourth, God identifies himself not only as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but as the God of thy father. Verse 6. We are told little about Moses' father Amram other than he was a Levite. Exodus chapter 6, verse 18 and verse 20. God knew Amram and he identified himself as the God of Amram. This brought God close to home. The patriarchs represented a remote past, but a man's father places God very close to one. Fifth, the reaction of Moses was one of fear and awe. He covered his face. Verse 6. God declares that he has seen the affliction of Israel and he has heard their cry. He is now going to deliver them out of the hands of the Egyptians and give them Canaan, a land oozing or flowing with milk and honey. The 6 peoples living in the land are cited, an interesting list of ancient peoples. The abundance of milk and honey means an area of rich pastures and many wildflowers, shrubs and trees for bees to collect nectar from to make into honey. It is an image of prosperity and wealth. It's necessary to realize that Palestine today has little resemblance to Palestine then. Even apart from all other oppressors, the Turks turned many areas, including Palestine, into a desert. Their taxes on trees led to the destruction of trees. God now speaks directly to Moses concerning his calling. Moses will be sent to Pharaoh, and it will be Moses' duty to bring Israel out of Egypt. Verse 10. It is worthy of note that nothing has been said thus far about Moses' personal faith. All we know of that matter is by inference. God, in his word, is unconcerned about the religious experiences of the men he calls. His concern is to call them and to send them forth. There is an analogy to a military commander. Such a man does not ask the men whom he sends out on a dangerous mission anything about their love of their country. He simply sends them out. God commissions us and sends us out, not with guarantees of security, but with an order to obey. It is noteworthy in this connection that many Calvinists over the generations have looked to the burning bush as the biblical type of their faith, as a sign of great affliction, but never of destruction. Their choice of the burning bush has meant a rejection of the idea of an easy faith.